She did everything to save her marriage, but one lie nearly destroyed it. The movie begins with Greg and Elena celebrating a double milestone, their second wedding anniversary and Elena's birthday. Greg surprises her with a beautiful necklace before leading her outside, where he unveils a brand new car as the ultimate gift. Later that day, Greg takes Elena out to practice driving her new vehicle. Although she is hesitant, Greg patiently encourages her, telling her there is no better driver than she is. The next day at Elena's workplace, her colleagues and her boss, Mr. Zach, surprise her with a celebration. Mr. Zach praises her brilliance and contribution to the company, describing her as a light in the office. Later that day, Elena chats with her friend, showing off photos of her gifts. She then shares another piece of good news: she's pregnant. However, her friend's expression immediately changes, and she asks if Greg knows about the pregnancy. Elena admits she hasn't told him yet, and her worried expression raises an important question. Why is she so afraid to tell her own husband? Later that day at the office, Mr. Zach calls Elena into his office to announce that the company has secured a major partnership with Afri Global. He credits the achievement largely to her brilliance and presents her with a special gift as a token of appreciation. Later that day at home, Elena and Greg catch up on their day. Elena is glowing with happiness, while Greg seems unusually distant. She then presents him with a surprise gift of her own, revealing through a series of notes that she is finally pregnant. Later that night, the joy of the reveal quickly turns into tension when Greg panics. He demands to know why she stopped taking her contraceptives and immediately insists that she take it out, claiming he is not ready to become a father. Later that night at home, the argument intensifies as Elena pleads with Greg to keep the baby. She reveals a heartbreaking secret. This is actually their fourth pregnancy, and she is tired of terminating the blessings they have been given. Will Greg finally understand the pain his wife has been carrying? Later that night, Greg is haunted by a vivid nightmare of a little boy crying and begging his father to be a good boy and not leave him. He wakes up in a cold sweat, visibly shaken by the disturbing dream. Some days later, Elena walks out of the bathroom in severe pain, and Greg helps her into bed. It appears she has gone through with the abortion. Later that night, Greg tries to get close to Elena, but she pushes him away, emotionally drained and lost in her own thoughts. The next day, Elena meets with her friend Bookie to discuss the crisis. She explains that Greg's refusal to support the pregnancy made her believe she couldn't raise the child alone, fearing the emotional impact of growing up without a present father. Bookie is shocked by the revelation, but promises to stand by her friend. The next day at home, Greg sees Elena getting ready for work and worries that she is still too weak to leave the house. Elena insists on maintaining her normal routine and even asks him what he wants for dinner, promising to prepare his favorite jollof spaghetti. Later that day, Greg is at home struggling to resolve a technical issue for a client. His friend notices that something is wrong and advises him to see a therapist, reminding him that wealth and success mean little if he cannot provide the emotional support his wife and future children need. Later that day, as Elena is leaving the office, she suddenly feels a sharp pain in her lower abdomen and screams for help. Her boss and colleagues quickly rush her to the hospital. Meanwhile, Greg is asleep when he is once again haunted by the voice of the little boy from his dreams, desperately begging for his father's presence. Moments later, he receives a phone call informing him that Elena has been rushed to the hospital, and he immediately races there. At the hospital, Elena tearfully confesses to her boss that she is suffering complications from an abortion. She also reveals that this is the fourth pregnancy she has attempted to terminate because her husband does not want children yet. Later that day at home, Greg finds Elena in a fragile emotional state. She breaks down and reveals the shocking truth. She attempted the abortion, but it was unsuccessful. The baby is still alive and growing inside her, and the doctor has warned that any further attempt to terminate the pregnancy could result in her permanently losing her womb. Has fate given them one final chance to choose life? Later that night, Greg is overwhelmed with emotion after learning that Elena is still pregnant and that another abortion could rob her of the ability to ever conceive again. Elena comforts him, assuring him that this baby will bring them endless joy, even as Greg struggles to accept the reality of becoming a father. Some days later, Alina excitedly celebrates with Bookie, sharing the wonderful news that Greg has finally accepted becoming a father. Overjoyed, she playfully tells Bookie that she is officially going to be the baby's godmother. The next day, Greg finally takes his friend's advice and visits a therapist named Alex. During the session, Greg reveals the root of his fear. His own father abandoned him and his mother when he was a child, calling them stumbling blocks to his dreams. Greg admits that whenever Alina gets pregnant, he panics because he is terrified of becoming just like the man who broke his heart. One morning, Greg walks into the bedroom and finds Alina looking irresistible. They share a romantic moment together, and afterward, Greg talks excitedly about becoming a good father to their unborn child, as he and Alina make plans for the future. Some days later, the therapist encourages Greg to heal, explaining that his fear actually proves he is far more self-aware and compassionate than his father ever was. She gives him a journal and encourages him to write down his memories and the kind of father he truly wants to become. Later that night, Greg begins writing in the journal his therapist gave him. The next morning at the office, Alina is on a call with her doctor, who assures her that there is nothing medically wrong with her. Although the news is positive, Alina still looks deeply worried. Shortly after the call, her secretary brings her flowers and a gift box. Believing they are from Greg, she immediately calls him to thank him. Later that evening, when Alina arrives home and finds Greg preparing fruit for her, she playfully asks him to stop and begins flirting with him. Greg happily responds to her affection. The next day at home, the atmosphere between the couple is more intimate than ever. However, Greg begins to notice that Alina constantly wants to be intimate, insisting that it is good for the baby. Although he goes along with it, he finds the sudden change in her behavior rather unusual. Why has Alina suddenly become so desperate? One night, Greg realizes that Alina is probably the first pregnant woman he has ever known who has no cravings or mood swings. His curiosity grows, while Alina becomes visibly uncomfortable, as though she is hiding something from him. The next day, a shocking secret is revealed during a private conversation between Alina and her friend, Bookie. It turns out Alina is not actually pregnant. She has been lying to Greg for the past 3 months and is now in a state of panic because her menstrual cycle has returned. Desperate, she is trying to conceive before Greg notices the absence of a baby bump. How long can she keep such a dangerous secret hidden? Later that day, Alina visits a renowned gynecologist, begging for medication or treatment that will make her pregnant immediately. Despite her desperation, the doctor explains that she is perfectly healthy and simply needs to be patient, because conception is a miracle that cannot be forced. Some nights later, Alina once again tries to be intimate with Greg, even though he is exhausted and sleepy. The next day at the office, Alina confides in Bookie that she is emotionally drained and has no idea how to tell Greg the truth. She fears that once he discovers her deception, he will leave her. Bookie comforts and reassures her. Some days later at home, Bookie brings Alina a traditional herbal concoction from a local healer, claiming it has helped many women conceive. Despite its bitter taste, a desperate Alina drinks every drop, hoping it will somehow turn her lie into reality. 2 weeks later, Alina takes a pregnancy test, hoping for good news. To her disappointment, the result is negative, leaving her devastated and even more worried. Some days later, while Greg is working, Alina approaches him and suggests they be intimate. Greg is surprised by how frequently she now desires intimacy and gently refuses, explaining that he is afraid it might somehow harm the baby. Later that night, Alina is unable to sleep. Greg wakes up and asks what is wrong. She hesitantly asks whether he could ever forgive someone who committed a terrible offense against him. Confused, Greg assumes she is simply experiencing pregnancy-related mood swings and reassures her without realizing what she truly means. Later that week, Greg and Alina are having dinner when Alina tells him that she has invited her boss, Mr. Zach, over for a meal because she wants Greg to finally meet the man she respects so much. Although Greg is hesitant, he agrees for the sake of his pregnant wife. Later that weekend, while Alina and Bookie prepare for the dinner, Elena is trembling with fear over how Greg will react if he discovers the truth. In her anxiety, she accidentally drops and breaks a dish. Bookie stays by her side as Elena breaks down in tears. Later that day, the evening takes a catastrophic turn when Greg returns home and finds Mr. Zach sitting in his living room. Greg is immediately consumed with rage because Mr. Zach is none other than his estranged father, the man who abandoned him years ago. Furious, Greg violently orders him out of his house, while a horrified Elena realizes that the man she deeply respects at work is the very source of her husband's lifelong trauma. Can this family survive another devastating revelation? Later that night, overwhelmed by the confrontation and the crushing weight of her lies, Elena collapses and is rushed to the hospital. Believing she is losing the baby, a devastated Greg prepares for the worst. Instead, Elena finally breaks down and confesses the heartbreaking truth. There was never a baby, and the supposed miscarriage was a lie she invented to cover up her deception. The next day, Greg is shattered by the betrayal. He feels Elena used his deepest emotional wounds and everything he shared during therapy to manipulate him. Unable to face her, he leaves the house without another word, abandoning Elena to deal with the ruins of their marriage. A week passes after Greg leaves the house. Bookie and Greg's friend visit Elena to comfort her. Later, Mr. Zach also comes to sincerely apologize, admitting that he had been selfish for abandoning his family years ago to pursue his own dreams. Some days later, Elena discovers Greg's journal and begins reading through its pages. Later that night, it is revealed that Greg has been hiding out at his mother's house. He is in a dark place, refusing to eat or speak. However, his mother remains firm, reminding him that he is still her little boy and insisting that he must eat to stay strong. Greg's mother then has a heartfelt conversation with him about the power of forgiveness. She explains that she forgave his father long ago, not because his actions were acceptable, but so she could free herself from the pain. She encourages Greg to return home and seek forgiveness from Elena, reminding him that forcing her to terminate their previous pregnancies was also a grave wrong against his wife. Will Greg find the courage to forgive others and himself? The next day, a remorseful Mr. Zach visits Elena at her home. Filled with anger, Elena confronts him over the damage he caused, calling him a selfish man who abandoned his family. She blames his actions for creating Greg's deep fear of fatherhood, a fear that ultimately led to the loss of their 4 previous pregnancies. Later that day, Elena finally calls Greg's mother in a state of panic. Upon learning that Greg is safe and staying at his mother's house, she immediately rushes there to find him. Later that same day, Greg and Elena finally reconcile. They sincerely apologize for the lies, the mistakes, and the pain they caused each other, agreeing to rebuild their marriage on a foundation of complete honesty. Later that afternoon at his mother's house, the tension reaches its peak when Mr. Zach also arrives. In a deeply emotional confrontation, Greg's father admits that abandoning his family was the greatest mistake of his life. He begs for one final opportunity to be the father Greg never had. Guided by his mother's wisdom, Greg begins the difficult journey of letting go of the resentment he has carried for so many years. Can forgiveness truly heal a lifetime of pain? A month later, the miracle they had both longed for finally happens. Elena discovers that she is truly pregnant. Greg is overwhelmed with joy and excitedly shouts that he is finally going to become a father. Some months later, Greg is shown to be an incredibly loving and overprotective father-to-be. As they prepare to leave the house, he insists on carrying all the bags and repeatedly reminds Elena to be careful on the stairs because she is heavily pregnant. It is clear that he has completely overcome his fears and wholeheartedly embraced his new role as a husband and soon-to-be father. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this movie recap, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more captivating movie recaps. Until we meet again, take care and goodbye.